morning and welcome to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television Ibadan. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun.
And I'm Anulu Apoidu. Thank you for starting your day with us.
Political tensions and civil liberties clash sharply this morning as the African Democratic Congress issues a stern ultimatum to President Bola Tinubu following the arrest of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai's personal physician. The party's heavy labeling of the administration as an authoritarian government has intensified the national discourse surrounding state powers, opposition scrutiny, and the shrinking space for political dissent. State security apparatuses target figures linked to the opposition. What safeguards exist to preserve democratic freedoms, and how will this ultimatum shape the alignment of opposition political parties in the coming days? That is our Daybreak gist this morning.
Then in a short while, we'll take you through the newspaper headlines and analysis where today's front pages capture the stories driving conversations across politics, security, education, governance, and the economy. Join us to dissect the major headlines and the issues making the biggest impact across the country. Today is Public Affairs Analyst Afolami.
And later on the program, we will transition into Trend Watch, where we collectively track the conversations, digital shift, and social issues gaining rapid momentum across the country.
And before we leave you this morning, we'll revisit some of the stories, reactions, and conversations continuing to attract attention across the country.
And democratic stability depends entirely on the protection of citizen rights and institutional checks. True governance must thrive on openness and adherence to the rule of law rather than coercive measures.
So this morning, we examine both the political warnings and the legal boundaries. So you're welcome to Daybreak Live today.
Exactly.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
All right, so let's get into the conversation of the day, and it's one that maybe will drive a lot of comments and maybe reactions and counter reactions as well, as ADC names the current administration of President Bola Tinubu an authoritarian government, and in that sense it says Tinubu ultimatum after El-Rufai's doctor's arrest. That's exactly the conversation right there. But just a glimpse into the story, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has accused President Bola Tinubu's administration of political persecution following the reported arrest of the personal physician of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai and the alleged assault on his wife. In the statement released by its National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, the party alleged that officials of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, that's ICPC, prevented El-Rufai from receiving medical treatment at the National Hospital in Abuja, despite medical advice that he should be admitted. But according to the ADC, El-Rufai's wife and personal physician protested the decision by ICPC officials to return him to custody, leading to a scuffle during which his wife was allegedly assaulted and his doctor arrested. So that's exactly the conversation from that sect. And maybe just a few clarification is we really do not know as well. So there are certain things that we know. We really cannot tell where, if that really happened, and if there was an assault on the wife according to what was released in the print, if there was an attempted assault or there was indeed an assault on his wife. And so that's one of the conversations. But should there be an assault on his wife? I'm not sure that should be a thing. If you are culpable on that law, you are supposed to bear the consequences of whatever you do, and it should not be your family that would bear the burden, right? So even if there was a case of assault, that exactly is unacceptable on the part of the wife, and that's one thing that we can note. But again, just to explain the few points that yes, El-Rufai is in custody. You understand the situation when there were claims about his health, dwindling his health, having a health care as they call it, and then all of a sudden, yes, I think there was that opportunity to meet with the doctor, and now they said the doctor also is now in the web now, according to what we have as details. But again, the links to the President Bola Tinubu is what I'm not really so sure about. However, not to say that the President does not have his say in this or cannot have his say in this, but it's not explicit that it is the President that made this arrest. We cannot tell. But exactly, the ICPC is also a body that works for the government. And so if the government decides to call it off and let the man be, it's okay. But if they decide not to, it's still okay based on what they think they have in mind. But again, I'm just so concerned about the fact that this was linked to President Bola Tinubu. And many times, I know we politicize a lot of things, and it's also the case here where you see we politicize this kind of things and say it was the president that made the arrest. The president did not make an arrest. He can't give the order, yes, but are you even sure the president gave the order? But El-Rufai's case is such a case that a lot of persons are waiting to see what will become of, because obviously the cases before him, the counts before him, they are not something that can be joked with. They are something that should be taken seriously. But then, should we also compromise the health of El-Rufai? Is still a question why a lot of people say, if his doctor is there, let the doctor do what's supposed to do and not arrest the doctor for what reason? I mean, if you have a health care, if your health is at risk, then what's one thing? Because even if you want to continue the, what's it called now, you want to continue interrogation, you need someone who is alive to interrogate. If you don't have the person alive, I'm afraid the whole case will not still make sense eventually, because there's not going to be a ruling for the dead in that sense. So, but again, I just wish there could be a way they could resolve this. If he has needs for medical attention, let him access it. If you feel like you want to provide another physician, that's okay too. But let him have his fundamental human rights, even while he's still facing this trial. Let's not stifle his life out of him just because he's being questioned in the court of law.
Exactly. I think that's a very explicit background to the story. And then I read another headline that says, El-Rufai abused medical visit, doctor arrested. That's coming from the ICPC, because up until maybe around 3 p.m. yesterday, people were waiting for ICPC to respond to that allegation, because even the national chairman of the ADC called out the federal government to say, I don't know when you're going to stop all this, but you're just trying to witch hunt this man, according to the national chairman of the ADC. And they're saying allow him access to his family, that's his wife and his children, and of course his personal doctor. Let me just read through in a few paragraphs. The ICPC and all the Related Offences Commission on Tuesday, that was yesterday, alleged that the former governor violated the conditions of a court-approved medical visit while in the commission's custody. And according to ICPC, they said they saw some pictures online, and then they can attest to the fact that these pictures were taken when the doctor was with El-Rufai. So they are saying that El-Rufai violated that opportunity for him to have, access to his doctor, and that's why they are restricting him from getting access to his doctor one more time. Because according to the court order, he's allowed access to his personal doctor, his wife, and then I saw videos online, pictures online where the wives are complaining, we voted for you, we campaigned for you to win the 2023 elections, free my husband, things like that. So many things online that you're going to read and watch videos as well. So it's a big problem. I think we've been on El-Rufai's case since last year, and I remember there was a time that his mother passed, and then they allowed him a few weeks to go and bury his mother, and was back in the custody. And then I remember the situation that led to this whole matter. It started with an interview. El-Rufai granted an interview, national TV. He said some things. I was privy to listen to the conversation of Nuru Badu, and then I think they are charging him based on 9 count charges now. I think bordering on, abuse of office, embezzlement of funds, and then other charges as well. So I don't know at what point we are going to come to the end of this matter, speaking about El-Rufai, because according to members of the ADC, they don't believe that the government, or let me say the ICPC, FCC, are just trying to make sure that law, or let me say justice, is served on this particular matter. They think it's just witch hunt. The president just wants to punish El-Rufai for reasons best known to him, and that's what the ADC is saying at this point in time. But at the end of the day, I think his right, should be observed. He should be allowed access to his doctor if at all something happened. And then it was even alleged that the wife was assaulted, and I don't think that is acceptable, not even in any part of this world, not in Nigeria, not in Africa, not in Europe, because you're not supposed to do that, regardless of the situation. So at the end of the day, I think it was also said, according to the ICPC, that El-Rufai also failed to show up in court. I think it was slated for July 6, 7, and 8. But then El-Rufai said, I won't show up in court until I have access to my personal doctor. I think this matter should not even become a big issue. I mean, we should not go back and forth on this matter. I mean, El Rufai is saying, give me access to my doctor. If he cannot get access to his doctor, can you tell us more reasons, why he cannot get access to his doctor? Is it just because of the pictures that you saw online, and then you think the pictures were taken when the doctor was with him? I mean, what is the essence, or what is the importance of these pictures? How does it affect the case? These are the questions that Nigerians are asking, this morning. Exactly. And then I don't know if you have something to say on that particular.
I would comment briefly on what is said to be said by the ICPC, especially with the picture thing. I know, for one, I've been to prisons, not as an offender anyway, but maybe just as an observer, and I've seen the way these things are done. Once there is a visiting time, there's a time scheduled for it, and there's a place scheduled for it. You can have conversations, you can deliberate with your lawyer, you can have your family members come around. But I think one of the cases here is that he's been denied access, unrestricted access, which the court granted. And that's one thing the family is not so okay with. And they're saying, you know what, let's have unrestricted access to our family member. And of course, let the lawyer and of course the doctor be available. So whatever they said, they saw a picture or they got a picture, is, I mean, let's do what they call the feast of reason. Let's feast on reason. How is that picture, like you said, how does it link to the cases that is serving, that is being tried for? And again, does it mean that the doctor has a chance to excommunicate, or should we say expunge him from that just because he's there? What can the doctor, I'm trying to imagine for the ICPC to think, what do you say to the doctor? What's the doctor trying to do in terms of maybe taking him from custody, or maybe giving him extra strength to be able to stand the trial? Whatever the case, I can't really find the objective truth in this. I'm just seeing cases that are, he abused that opportunity. The next thing is to probably maybe not give him that opportunity in the next 1 or 2 days, and then let it extend and tell him these are the conditions, you cannot do this, and it's just as simple. Instead of now arresting a doctor who is not just serving Erufan, he's serving some other persons. We've talked about the doctor drain, the brain drain in the medical industry, right? And we talked about how much of doctors we still need. So if you take a doctor out of this whole equation, you are still harming the people. If you think you want to harm Nasir Rufai, you're harming the people, because that doctor is not just serving Nasir Rufai, he's also serving some patients. He has some functions to get back to after leaving El Rufai. So if you arrest him, you have denied access to medical attention to another person somewhere in the village or somewhere in the state. But that's not acceptable. So the ICPC should do this. If a doctor is not performing his duty right, let him be denied and let another doctor be given that opportunity to come and see Nasir Rufai. It's just as simple. It's a no-brainer. It's nothing so deep, right? Like they say, it's not so deep. They just let them get another doctor. If you think that doctor is not doing what is right, then let another doctor go. But don't deprive a doctor is freedom. Don't take a doctor away just because he's trying to serve or do what he's supposed to do as a medical practitioner.
I think that's absolutely spot on, and of course the issue should not get more intense, because I mean the family is trying to get Erufai out, and then I think they will have to leave that for a while now and think of how they can get the doctor out. It's another problem entirely. It's a fine place to leave that discussion this morning. We take a short break, and when we come back we move on to newspaper headlines and analysis. We'll be right back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB Van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB Van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. This is Newspaper Headlines and Analysis. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako, and I'm not alone on set this morning for this particular segment. I'm with Afalabi, Public Affairs Analyst. Welcome on board.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, this morning we start with Daily Trust, and of course, the banner headline is saying Tinubu seeks answers over phantom council, and I also have another headline that says xenophobia, lawmakers threaten sanctions against South Africa. Let's start with that particular one. I think it's very interesting because we've been talking about it, for months now. Yes. And I watched a recent video where Adams Oshomole, came back to reiterate his stand on that, position on that particular issue, saying that let's nationalize these companies, and then that will send a signal to South Africa. But some Nigerians are not buying into that idea because they are saying Nigerians work for these companies. So if you decide to do this, it's going to affect Nigerians.
Well, it's not that I'm not looking at that from that angle. I'm looking at the angle of how well can we pay back these people for the huge damage they've done on our country, Nigeria, by sending back our citizens, by causing a lot of collateral damage on those who have gone out there to their country, South Africa, to earn a living, to live a normal life. We see Nigerians doing business normally. Many of them who were even brutalized were those we saw on the some of the clips that we saw, was those who were diligently doing their work, and you can see how best they are contributing. But if we are to normalize nationalize these companies, it will mean that some of our staffs that are Nigerians will lose their business, will lose their job. But notwithstanding, how well are we doing it better, such that we can also own our own? What happened to our Nitel? That we just collapsed just like that. What happened to all other companies that we can raise from? We've grown to a point where we should be able to stand and shoulder to shoulder with any company that is coming to Nigeria. And if we can do that, it's not bad sending them off. Look at what happened in Ghana. Ghana is already cancelling the state visit from South Africa president, and then he's telling them that, come, you don't belong to a community like this, and you want to treat your fellow neighbors in this kind of
manner.
Ghana
is also protesting against Nigeria.
Yes. Ghana protesting against against Nigerians is something we will talk about later. But let's look at the ones that we're talking about right now. That is South Africa. It's not good enough. It's telling us that we should come back home and put our country in order and build a country where we can all be proud of, where we can rely on, where we can believe in what we produce, what we give as service, and what that will make people to come into our own country, to buy from us. We are everywhere. We do business, we are everywhere.
Speaking about business, sorry to quote you, South Africans argue, they say things like, Nigerians are taking our jobs, they're taking our women, they drive cars, we don't have cars, and things like that.
That is the business that we know how best to do. When you talk about taking their women, what happened to their own men not able to maintain their men? You see, we've seen a particular, I saw a particular clips that you saw, I saw a guy, asking that Nigerians are taking their women, and one of the women was talking out that they cannot cater for us, they cannot take care of us, they are not there to be the man that we want at home. And these are what Nigerians are very good at. When we are outside the country, we work more, we do better than what we can do outside, what we can do at home. And that is one of our adage, like in Yoruba, they said, and that tells you that it is kind of name that you bear, you prefer, that you answer to outside your shore. So I want to believe that this may be a threat, but shouldn't be a threat to them, because it should be a way at which they can work hands in hand, and then put their self together such that they can stay at par with each other. And that is where I'm asking that Nigerians to be so much be a country that we can depend on, a country that we will build to a point where our own coming generation will not even find it very interesting traveling out. Traveling out will be just for a tour. Traveling out will just for a visit. Traveling out will just be for like doing a kind of an enjoyment, just to see some of the countries and come back home. That is when we put our own country in order, and that starts from the leadership, the kind of leadership that we are going to produce in the next election.
Okay, I think it's a fine place to leave that discussion. Speaking about South Africa, let's turn to another headline that says Senate to federal government stop rehabilitation of repentant Boko Haram members. I mean, you've been saying this for years. It didn't just start today. So why is it that it's difficult for federal government to stop this?
I think when the Senate come out with this law, it will put an end to all that we are seeing. We've seen an infiltrator in the Nigerian army, and that exposed them beyond normal, to a point that they have attacked our own Nigerian army base in several locations, and been able to capture the Nigerian armies where they are already on their way to kill the enemies, and the enemies are now becoming the hunter hunting them. And that is because we have done one big mistake. I will call it an error, where we believe some people are repentant Boko Haram, repentant bandits, and asking that they be fused into the Nigerian army, go through the training. This is an army where, while we were growing up, it was very difficult for some of us like this to to find our way in. Some people go through series of tests, series of practice, and at the end of the day, we are denied. And some people who we have been identified as criminals, identified as bandits, identified as Boko Haram, got their. I don't know who proposed that kind of idea. Who promulgates the law to say you inject criminals into, I don't know.
It is that with this administration.
It is that with this administration.
The situation, or it's been hard to achieve this because some top military officers, I've listened to so many, they say things like, leave them alone, they are part of us. Yes, we're going to punish them, but we are not going to execute them.
That is where we get it wrong. That is where we find ourselves. That is what makes us to find ourselves where we are right now. It didn't start with this administration. It started with that of former President Muhammadu Buhari administration. Jonathan didn't inject any bandits into the Nigerian army. He was at the face of facing them out, fighting them and going after them. It was from this past president, even the former president Buhari came out publicly to say that they are part of them. We have it on Twitter, we have it on S handles, we have it on the social media. Social media cannot lie. We have they all come out to say they are part of them. It is because Nigeria is going after them that is making them to revenge and so many other things. Now we are facing it. Now we don't trust our army. Now we find it difficult to trust our police. Now we are looking for a state police that we may even not trust tomorrow. Where we cannot sleep with our two eyes closed. It has generated to a point where the president convoy is also not safe. We've seen that of Metawali one time was attacked. We've seen where government convoy was attacked, and that tells you how infiltrated these guys have gone. And they came up openly to make demands, and it tells on the governors, the president, even the federal government in Italy to be shaking and asking that what can they do, and that is where the total eradication of these people is getting too much. It's getting tougher and tougher every day.
Okay. From that discussion, still talking about security, let's cross to Nigerian Tribune. And I have this headline that says, pressure mounts on abductors of Oribe school children. I remember a few weeks back, the governor of Oyo State said, Oyo is not Chibok. These people have spent about 52 days, in the den of these abductors. And the Nigerians are asking, at what point will they come out? Is there a chance that they will be rescued? I mean, that's my question to you.
Yes, that question I'm also going to ask the governor and the federal government. Is there a chance that these people will be rescued? There was a time the governor imposed a curfew on the suburb or local government and asking that the curfew start from 10 and close for 6 in the morning. I was of the opinion then that maybe this is the time these people will be getting out of that bandit hands, and that a way to capture the bandit and a way to rescue the children and the principals and the teachers. But to my surprise, it was lifted and nothing was done. And I still ask myself, what is going on? What is going on with all the military intelligence that we have? What is going on with all the police, the local hunters, and the many other people that have contributed and joined hand with this team to see how we can rescue? What is going on? Is anybody still releasing some information that we don't know? And I've also found out that of recent, it's been long that they released their video. It's been long they get us there's no new version of video except the last one that the woman came up to say that some people are taking the bandits for misunderstanding them, that they are not crediting for Sharia. They're not asking that. They're only asking that they get their people released and they will get them released. They're not asking for money. I think that was the last, and it has been also, but that is about 3 weeks ago. But I want to ask that we don't relax. We don't stop at rescuing these people, because the name is there. The name for the government is there, and we don't want to play politics with this. We want to face it all hand. And we pray also that the government knows what they are doing.
Speaking about government, sorry to cut you. I think a few days back, Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the NDC, alleged that, the president is here to call, Oyo State government, or Oyo State governor now, Shey Makinde. So do you think that's the missing link?
That is where I'm saying that we don't play politics with rescue of these people.
So calling the governor, does it count for anything? Can it resolve the
maybe
matter?
that will be telling you that they are working hand in hand. Politics aside, this is the life that is at stake. That is where I'm saying we don't play politics. In the way of playing politics, you know, at present, the president and the governor are not on the same page. Sheyi Makinde is also vying for becoming the president.
Nigerians think it's a huge disadvantage.
It's a very huge one to the present president Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because he won very large scale here in Oyo State at the last election, and that would be reducing his vote for this coming election, because the sitting governor is also contesting. And you know that the sitting governor has his local government chairman all around, all his agencies, both local and ward levels are all there, and he's still mobilizing. He has the money to still pump in for his election, and that tells you that the president and his presidential campaign team or his party may not have enough time to penetrate. There was an alliance, there was a rumor alliance at that time. There may not be an alliance at this time. The alliance at this time may not even work, because the sitting governor is vying for president, and he has somebody who he wants to become the governor, and he will be doing everything that possible to make that work out. So I'm asking that they don't play politics with the detection of these guys, with the arrest, with the kidnapping of these children and teachers in that particular bush. They work hand in hand, settle this matter, bring these people out safely, and capture the bandits. That is the only way I will be able to say yes, they have done a good job. Not let the children go and be telling us that the bandits have blown into thin air. I will not accept that. I will only be satisfied when the children are all released. Rescued safely, and those bandits are arrested, and we know people behind it. You know, there was this very rumor that the time was, they said that they are questioning the ballet of that Orire. They've arrested some people. We don't want to buy on rumor anymore. We want to see the fact. We are calling on the government, both at the state level, the local government level, and the federal level, to please work hand in hand and save these children. The time is not on our side. The school children that was on strike was because these people were there. NUT now has called off their strike. When NUT called off their strike, I was surprised too. I was thinking that the strike will bring out something good, and by the time they will be calling off their strike, will be when the children will already be leaving the forest and safely, and everybody will know that yes, the reason for calling the strike is justified.
What about the education of the children now? Because I think part of the reason why NUT decided to go back to work is because they saw that the private schools are on. They go to school, and then only the public schools have decided to stay back at home and not resume. So what do you make of that? Because they are saying, okay, these people, if they are going to school because they can afford it, so we should not deny the ones who cannot afford to pay.
That is what we are made of. That is part of what we are made of. You know, so many people look at loopholes to make money, and then we don't agree so much that even on life, I wonder why private schools will be on as at the time this struggle was on, such that they should both be on strike. They should both be on strike to put the government on their toe, to make them do the needful and bring back these children, such that everybody will know that we are working towards a particular goal. But it amazed me to know that the private schools also open their doors, and I've also heard, I've also seen where some people are already bringing back their children from the public school to private school, and the private school are making more extra money in that direction, even cutting down the price because they are going for total, and it's not fair. But we don't value things here. We don't value lives. If you value lives, and we understand that these children in that place also belongs to the generation that we are building, then everybody will hands down and make sure we fight the same cause.
All right, let's leave that discussion and turn to this banner headline. Still taking headlines from Nigerian Tribune. This headline is saying Tinubu's reforms working, support his re-election. Epemo Polo tells Nigerians. Before we go to the banner headline, now let's talk about this one. Tinubu's reforms working, support his re-election. And speaking about the reforms, I don't know, can you do a short assessment of the reforms in the last 3 years?
Well, I'm not a party. I'm not here to talk about a party man. I will not be able to give you outline of all the reform. But the citizen can tell what reforms is working. The citizen on the roadside can tell us what reform is working. What what matters to Nigerian citizens most importantly is the road, food, shelter. That is it.
Will these reforms affect all these things
That is it. That is it. If these reforms are affecting them, then it will show on the road. What happened to our insecurity? Are the reform affecting our insecurity? Now, right now, we are the state, both the rep, the Senate, and the House of Rep are calling for a state police. It has also been passed. And I understand that while it has been passed, there are still some loopholes that should be checked on, where it will not be used as a tool by governors or state security officers to molest other oppositions. You know, that is one area that I'm waiting that it will not come to be, because the experience of 1963 that led to Operation Wet here is there. So I want to believe that if it is working, that insecurity should have come down to barest minimum right now. Talking about the infrastructure development, I want to believe that the government is working on that. But you know what matters to citizens are the things that determines their daily life, that makes their daily life worth living, that gives them the strength to see tomorrow as a day that will come, and they'll be happy for it. Come to talk about education. How is our educational life is?
Okay, speaking about education, I remember when the president was campaigning for the 2023 elections, he said, "Oh, speaking about ASU strike, I'm going to make sure it comes to an end." And then, if you check the last 3 years, you know, the universities have not gone on strike. Is that, you know, is that a good point for this administration?
Well, if it's a good point, kudos to him. But they are not paying like they are paying in those days.
Okay.
They are paying more right now.
Really?
The school fees have increased, and that was why they said they've introduced that of the loan for students. Then if you get a loan for your student and is able to graduate, who pay back the loan? How do they get to pay back the loan? Would they have to work with the NYSC that they get the token for or a stipend for, be used as part of their payment repayment loan? With the parents who are working to sell akara and agbado on the roadside work so much that they can pay back those loans? I want to just know. Yes, this reform is in that direction too. Look at our power supply. The power generation right now, it has not increased, and we are still paying more. We are paying more for what we are not using. We are paying more for the little that we are using. I don't get it. Yes, the reform is there. We are hoping that this reform will be such that it will be normal and Nigerians can actually count their hands and count a number for say yes, they've gotten that reform effectively. Life is all about getting what you need at the time you need them. I tell you, the president may be trying, his agency may be the delay tactics that are not making things work. There was a time that they talk about distribution of prepaid meters and the hammer on it, and at a point the thing just stopped. It stopped and nobody is talking about it anymore. At a point, people are even using their money to buy these prepaid meters. Some people bought prepaid meters and they still have to pay on that prepaid meters of some bad debt on it. I don't get it. But the truth of the matter is that if there is any reform that you want to talk about, it are the reforms that are affecting the people directly. It is the kind of reform that people can speak about and they can show off it. It's not a kind of reform that people will get one kg of semovita and be shouting tomorrow on your mandate we shall stand. It's not such kind of reform. It's not a reform that all the parties that are supposed to be on ground are already in court. It remaining just one party to contest the election. It's not a reform that will...
Even APC that you're speaking of, are you aware that they are going through internal crisis?
Yes.
I mean, in Ondo State, there was a protest. Party members, APC party members, were protesting.
They protested in your state too. Yes, some people are already protested. I think they protested yesterday too. To talk about I'm picking of members who they never expect to be in on the ballot box or on the ballot paper for the coming election.
And somebody said something. This person said, if not for the internal crisis that the opposition parties are battling with, you know, APC might not survive this internal crisis.
They bought them in a boat where they cannot just jump out. Looking at the electoral reform, the electoral reform has done it such that you remain a party man until after the election. Because for you to deny yourself or to things are happening. So look at our petroleum pump price. Everywhere people are talking about it should have come down. And the gas stations, the domestic gas stations, people are talking it should have come down. These are what matters to Nigerians. Nigerians are such that whatever that matters to them. These are their daily needs. You know, they are not particular about you flying going on the specialist flights, going to Mecca. No, they are talking about how is their medical life is going to look like. How many hospitals can you fight for that is working right now? Can you go to UCH and say you are safe? Can you go to Adeoyo and say you are safe? Can you get can you get affected in your own local area and believe that by the time you turn left or right, you see a state office, a state hospital or a local health center around you? So these are the things that matters to Nigerians. If I start counting that the economic situation has gone down, naira is like this in the market, who is buying dollar? Who is spending dollar in Nigeria?
Okay, you've been able to identify the issues and then things that matter to Nigerians. So we do hope for better days in the country. Let's cross to the Punch newspaper and take this headline that says, a fake agency scandal. Tinubu orders 30-day ICPC probe. Senate rejects blame. Let me read I want to read the other things to you. Anti-graft agency to probe alleged forgery impersonation bank account. Please release Adeyemi's father. Continue search for embattled DG. That's the second rider. And the third one is saying Senate insists 1.3 billion naira budget line not inserted by lawmakers. Declines intervention without petition. So the presidency have come out to debunk this. I mean, we are not part
of
this.
Even the General has come out to say the man has no accounts.
And then the man, according to Mr. DM, he said the only person who can serve as, evidence, on this particular matter died mysteriously. And then even Mr. Femi Gbadabiamila came out to say, no, I never appointed him. As a matter of fact, I can't even appoint him. I only follow the directives of the president. So what do you make of this matter? And then the 1.3 million naira budget that was inserted into the budget, into the national budget. What do you make of that as well?
That is what Nigeria is made of. I'm sorry to say that because, there are times that we talk about budget padding, and then this government that is in power now, when they were in the opposition, talk a lot about padding of, governments, by the lawmakers to say they will have proposed a budget of 1.2 trillion will be presented to the Senate, and by the time it will be approved, it will be 3.6 billion. A lot of padding. And when you ask yourself who is getting the huge chunk of money that has been added to the budget, you cannot find those people. And I also want to believe that this man did not just get to where he is or where he was then to have claimed an office, claim a particular space. Okay. And there is staff also working for him, and he has official cars. He directs, he gives. So that is that kind of image that dents us outside the country, even within. That tells some people how much they can go to get what they want, and that is the loopholes that is in our government that is giving us bad names. I was not very happy when I saw the news that broke out yesterday or day before that the man's father has been arrested in Ogbomoso. It's not far enough. Go after him. You know how best to get the man. You know where to get him. He does not just start from becoming the man he made himself to be. He started by romancing these people. He has worked with some of them. They know him very well. When you look at this, Google this man, you see some of the pics he took with some of them, and they were fine. They were laughing to a point that this man could go to the presidency and then get his office in Abuja. It's not a 20,000 naira office space.
It's a lot to unpack, but I want to believe that investigations have started.
We hope that this investigation will unravel all the mystery behind this man's intention. Clearer. That is my point.
Right.
I'm praying that it gets open to everybody to know who appointed him, who gave him the appointment letter, who allocated the office, who get the budget, who insert that money, and how did they get the money out. It's not going to be easy for you to just walk into a bank and then withdraw, or get an app and money is in your app account and you are transferring.
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Definitely. I want us to talk about football very quickly.
Oh,
and
my
there's this
God.
particular headline. I'm taking it from Vanguard newspaper. Argentina survived Egypt's scare, a 2-goal deficit, but they survived with goals from Christian Romero, Lionel Messi, and Enzo Fernandez, each to go through. Do you know what Nigerians are saying, or what they said after the match? Some were saying, maybe there's something fundamentally wrong with an African match, because how can this team lead with 2 goals and at the end of the day they lost the game?
I don't know if FIFA have not done anything for Africa. This tournament, FIFA have tried to make Africa be what they would like to be, as in coming up, if not getting the trophy, at least getting at the final stage. Imagine, at the starting, it was so rosy, so fantastic attack, good defend, good, and you get to 2.0, I don't know, and you just fail to defend your house. And these people started coming back 2-1, 2-2, to the point of Africa. Maybe we need to, maybe there is a particular idol that some people have not started worshiping or has abandoned. Or there is a way we need to call on our own, because our guys are doing wonderfully well outside the country. Look at all of them. I said something to some people that Nigerians have not qualified to play in the World Cup, but Nigerians are playing the World Cup. Nigerians are playing the World Cup, and some people, you can see that beautiful guy, wonderful guy, he playing for US, to the point that the president of US almost want to call the blood of anybody to say, this guy, you have to bring him back. Well, I tell you.
What do you make of Salah's goal? That was a sellout.
That's good. We need to do more. Africa needs to do more.
Okay.
We need to do more. It was, to me, very painful, because I have wished Messi is out.
Why?
Like Ronaldo.
Why do you want him out?
No. Why will you not see Ronaldo now?
You're a Ronaldo fan?
Yeah, I'm a Ronaldo fan.
Okay, a proud one.
Yeah,
that's why you want Messi.
I just want that, because I see. I have wished that an African person get to that position, and that's why I'm praying that Morocco don't.
All right, time will tell. Well, we need to go this morning, and of course, a big thanks to you, Afolabi, for being a part of this segment. We take a short break, and when we come back, we conclude the program with Trend Watch. We'll be right back.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Because I think one of the conversations that would not leave the lips of many Nigerians and maybe Africans was yesterday's match. While some people are divided, others believe it was a fair game. But some of us will probably still think Africa is still being robbed in a way. But anyway, that's for another time. But of course, now to Trend Watch to see what's trending across the country. And this time around is the story of mining. Now, Nigerian mining marshals arrest senior police officer for allegedly helping Chinese illegal mining defendants escape. So that's the conversation. Just recently, there's been recent, I don't want to say, investigation as to the places that are being mined illegally. And of course, one time Oshiomole came out to say this, that of course there are some people who are in the business of mining in the country illegally, and they are not even Nigerians, they are foreigners. And so there's been claims about them also giving out funding, giving out support to terrorism in the country because they make a lot of money through the mining. In fact, some of the mining process that they get done, we don't know how they get some of those things that they get from our country away from the country. But of course, there's also a way that they use to, take those things away from the country. So there's been conversations about if there is no crack in the wall, then there's no way a lizard would enter. And that's the conversation, because there seems to be complicit kind of story. So there's a complicity in the way we've been running these kind of things, because some people have hands in this. And Oshiomole once said it, and again, it's time to know that a police officer was also arrested for this case, and I think many other arrests should come in the next few days by God's grace.
Yeah, I think we appreciate the development, and just like you mentioned, we see the loophole, we see the lacuna, the gap, and this is not the first time that some Chinese guys will be on the news for things like this. I mean, they just come in, they do what they need to do, and they bounce. And then I can tell you for free that this is not the first time, this is not the second time, and then so that tells us that we are not doing something right. So how come we are unable to stop this, put a stop to all of this? Because I want to believe that if you issue out the right punishment to people, it serves as a deterrent to others to not say, okay, we want to do this again, because they saw what happened to people who did the same thing. So I think there should be consequences, and then the consequences should not be mild, so that it will not attract other people to say, okay, we can barb our way out of the situation. So I think the federal government, they should be on top of the matter. And there was even a time that, some of them, one person, one Chinese guy was almost killed because of this particular thing, because he was caught by Nigerians, not by the security operatives now. So we need to be more intentional and then very firm on this particular matter, basically.
Well, I think there was also a nab, they nabbed some foreigners somewhere inside the Old Oyo National Park not too long ago, and then they were said to be kingpins, drug lords and cartels, right? They were producing and doing all of those cracking for the cocaine, heroin, and all of those substances that can be abused in the country. And they said they got a lot of them, and even a lot of materials there. And it was sort of like a cartel business that is running in the country without the awareness of the government. But I don't want to think there is something like that, because some people would know about this. But let's take a few comments and see what Nigerians are reacting to, especially in their reactions as to this particular story. Official Jose Blink says, now to join this Nigeria mining marshal, see as them gallant. Anyway, that's not Weirdo says, you see no outrage, Abby. Imagine our US nationals, them catch, lol.
And of course, another comment is coming from Weirdo. You see no outrage. Okay, you've mentioned that 99 working load is saying Nigerians are the orchestrator of their problems. And D Bullion now, he's saying, who are we going to trust in this country? That's a very valid question, right, on that particular matter. And it's a fine place to leave the discussion this morning. Thank you for being a part of the program. My name is Olayemi Adelakon. When you see something, say something. Bye for now.
And of course, I would say, don't be complicit to crimes. Whichever way, if you see something, say something. Be a whistleblower for the progress of this country, Nigeria. My name is Anulwa Poido. Saying bye for now.